back to the Diabetic Diet Show. Today's meal is orange glaze beef with Chinese noodles and Baby Bok Choy. This is a real good Asian meal. It's real easy to cook. It's less than 30 minutes. There's a few ingredients which you need to get those taste, but it's a pretty simple recipe and it's really a good one. Let me show you how to put this together. So one of the things that I'm starting out with is some French bread. So I'm going to warm up this French bread that I just bought, and I'm going to have some butter. Now for ingredients, I need an orange, or you can use a canned orange. Then we also have beef. I have 10 ounces of sliced beef, and I have about a half a pound of noodles. You can use fresh noodles or you can use packaged noodles. I'm going to use the fresh today. Then for ingredients, I'm going to take a look at my orange. Next, I have the Baby Bok Choy, and you just have to kind of go through your bok choy, and if you find any leaves on it that you don't like, you just go ahead and pull off, and then we're going to cut off the bottom on that. So we'll get around to that in a minute. Now for garlic, you're going to need at least 2 cloves of garlic, and I like to get my garlic ready in advance. So I have it in this container. And I shake it like that, and it takes my paper off, so I have that all set and ready to go. Then, as an option, you can use Sambal Oelek. Now I have some of it, and I tell you it's a little hot. So I know my son would use it. I think it's probably okay if you mix it in the overall meal, but it's kind of a hot thing. I think I'm going to skip it today. So, but it's really a good thing if you want to put it in there. Now, I also have soy sauce, and I'm using a soy glaze. So I've measured it out. And by the way, the measurements for all this stuff, if you're on a computer, right now in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, and then you'll see the more button, which has the recipe on it. If you're on a cell phone and you turn your cell phone up and you hit the subscribe button, then you'll see the more button with all the recipe and the measurements on this. Now, I also have cornstarch. So I just ordered my package of cornstarch like this from Amazon, and this is how they shipped it. It's kind of cool. So I have that all measured out here and ready to go. I also have rice wine vinegar. Of course, just pick that up at the local grocery store and measure that out. You'll need some sesame seed oil. Now, all of these are listed on my list of 8 important ingredients for Asian cooking. And I'll put a link on that right after this video. You can watch that one. But that's on my list. So I have the glaze here, and all of these are important ingredients. When put together, they're absolutely delicious. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have water boiling on the stove because it takes a while to boil, and then I'll bring that out here. I'm using an extra large skillet. I use my Gotham steel skillet here today. And the first thing we need to do is kind of cut things up and get this water boiling. So let's start there. Start out by cutting your Baby Bok Choy. What you do is you cut it in half like this, and then you take it to the sink and rinse them. That is the only easy way to get this clean, is just rinse them and shake them over the sink when they're cut in half. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to cut the root off the bottom of them. So just simply come right above where the root ends, knock that off. That's a bitter part, so you don't want that. Then on all this kind of fruit like celery and stuff, I like to go in and grab the very center little core and I pull that out. Just find that little very center piece and just get rid of that. Then we can go ahead and cut up our bok choy. Nice and careful because this is a tall stack and you're kind of raising up the knife here. That's about 3/4 of the bok choy. This is the remaining leaves. Keep them separate. And maybe I can put some more of that in there, but this part here, I want this for a garnish on top. Let's take our garnish portion, just like that. I'm just going to put that right there for later. Here's my bok choy. Now my orange. You want to roll your orange. Price tag comes off when you roll it. That's convenient. Then you want to cut your orange in half. And see, even though this orange has been sitting around here for a while, it still looks good. That's what I like about oranges, they last. You know, some of the stuff you buy, you bring it home and it doesn't last. Oranges are pretty good about that. And then our bread, what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to cut it in half, just like this for now. And I think I'm going to wrap this in paper towels that are moist, and then I'm going to throw it in the microwave for a few seconds just to steam it up. But for now, I'm going to take and move them out of the way. Cutting up the garlic is pretty straightforward. You already saw me shake, and it says 2. I'm going to go 3 in my recipe, just because I really like garlic. And sometimes they're kind of small. So all I do is just knock the ends off them. Spin them around like that, keeping my finger on top. And these have been sitting around. These aren't brand new fresh garlic, so they're kind of dried out, which is nice because the paper will come off them fairly easy. Just peels right off like it's whack. Let's go ahead and mix up our ingredients. Mixing up the ingredients, the only thing I'm not going to put in here is the cornstarch. Just like that. And then I'm going to stir it up. And I can stir this up a little more later on. Let's take our orange. I'm holding the orange up. Putting my hand over the top. Give it a squeeze. There we go. Just like that. That's our mix. Now let's start out cooking our meat and our noodles. So let's turn the burner on for the noodles and turn the burner on for our meat. Let's heat up this pan. Put some oil in like that. That's my olive oil. And I have some peanut oil I'm going to use too. While my pan is heating up for my meat, I'm going to go ahead and drop my noodles in here. Now very carefully, because this is boiling water. Just kind of opening them up. It's nice, it stopped the water from boiling, it'll come back up. And then I have a timer. I'll just go ahead and set that for 2 minutes. and hit start. Pan is getting hot. Not quite yet. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and cut up this orange. I'm going to use the leftover oranges for garnish. So I'm just going right here in the center, cutting down like that, and then I'm pitching the outside, and I'm just going to cut these in half, just like that, so I get halves, because you know you have the haves and the have-nots. And then I'll just use this for garnish. Very good. We'll just put these aside for now. Let's check our oil. You just take a little pinch of the cornstarch and you just put it on to see what the cornstarch does, and that tells you whether or not things are ready. While my pan is heating up really fast, I'm going to go ahead and grab a mixing bowl and put my meat in the mixing bowl. I'm going to watch this doesn't overboil here. So here's my meat. Here's some cornstarch. And I just go ahead and mix this up. I'm literally just squeezing this and mixing it together. There's the timer for the noodles. Now let's go ahead and put our meat here in the frying pan very carefully. And I'm going to take a hand washing break. Now for this meat, don't disturb it. Don't stir it. Just let it sit on the one side for a little bit. Salt it up real good. Pepper. Let it sit for a bit. The noodles are done and I need to rinse them. So I'm just going to rinse them with some warm water. So I dumped out the hot water and rinsed them with a warm water, but hot out of the faucet. And then just let them sit, and that'll just keep the noodles warm. It'll keep them from sticking together. The meat is still cooking. While the meat is cooking, I'm just kind of cleaning up my cutting board. I moved my bok choy and garlic onto a plate. I have my sauce here already and my sesame seeds. The meat is still cooking. I'm going to go ahead and just clean my cutting board. So I've been washing my cutting board and the meat has gotten quiet. That's how I know it's ready to flip over. So I'm using a real wide spatula and I'm just flipping over the meat. Now washing the cutting board, I used the same mix you've seen me make before and recommend to you. I just use a squirt bottle with some dish soap, water, and a little bit of bleach. That's the same thing that I washed my hands with earlier after I made this mix of ground beef. Then I rinse the cutting board, and then I wipe it down with a paper towel, or you could use a clean, fresh kitchen towel to wipe it down. We have to let this meat sit. Now I'm going to take my noodles over to the sink. Any kind of strainer you want. I happen to have this big spider I'm going to use. So the spider just kind of holds all my noodles. I dump them in like that. Then I'll just go ahead and stir and serve. Let's just go ahead and serve this up. Now the noodles, gotta kind of sneak them out of there like that. And then the meat, we'll get some meat on top. There's no neat, clean way to do this. I don't know how they do this in restaurants to make it look clean. I guess after they put it on the plate, taste it when no one's looking. And then probably just clean the edge of the plate before you serve it. Well, here you go. Put some of these on here. And some of my orange wedges for a little bit of garnish. And a little bit of the bok choy for the top. Well, there you go. That's the meal. I hope you enjoyed watching. I look forward to eating this and seeing you next time. Goodbye for now.